let us come. We're going to start actually just with a little forearm plank, so you can join me for this. So coming down and setting yourself up in your space, taking forearms, elbows right underneath shoulders, and getting a sense of energy through crown of head and through feet. And in this position, holding here, just take some flexion of whole spine. So you can see that my navel is drawing towards the ceiling, my pelvis is moving up, my head is moving down. And then I'm going to pull from the heels, my heels pull away, and my head pulls forward, just to neutral. Go a little further, take a small extension, chest lifts, and then press down again and take that flexion around in your back. And in this position, you can see your feet and notice if you're rolling to the inner or outer ball of the foot. And then pulling tail and heels away from crown of head. And one more time, pressing down and taking that flexion of whole spine. And then lengthening and finding your neutral. And go a little further, one more time, lifting your chest without pressing forward over the arms. And then find center. Come all the way down and rest. Just let your head come to rest on the floor for a moment. Take a couple of breaths. And good. Okay, from here, we're going to take a little spinal extension. So reaching the arms out, legs are in a small V. You're going to lengthen to lift everything up. And take a circle with the arms coming up to the right and down. And repeating. So keeping everything just off the floor and circling the arms. And one more in that direction. And reverse, circling your arms, coming up to the left and over. Up to the left. And take that 2 more times. And 1 more time. And center yourself, come down and rest. From here, roll onto your back. And we're going to take hands behind the head. Feet are in a narrow parallel. And just lift your head and shoulders up, looking towards your toes. And you're just going to take this first component of this series, side bending. Right and left. Really letting your waist change length as you go. So getting a lot of length on your left side as the feet come to the right, and a lot of shortness on the side that you're moving towards. Taking this a couple more times. And this time stay to the right. Head and shoulders are lifted, and lift a little higher, looking beyond your left thigh. And stay here, feeling the exertion increase. Elbows reaching towards the ceiling, head resting lightly in hands. And keep the pelvis exactly where it is, and just turn your chest a little bit more to the left, and then come back to center. Turn it a little bit more to the left, and back to center. A little bit more to the left. And center, and 2 more, left and center. 1 more, left and center. Coming to the other side, side bending to the left, keeping the pelvis where it is, and holding here for a moment, head and shoulders lifted, nice and high. And then lift up and turn a little bit more to the right, and then come back to what center was. Up and a little bit more to the right, and back to what center was. 3 more like that, up and a little more to the right, and to center. 2 more, and center. 1 more, and center. Bring your knees in, lengthen out, come all the way down, rest. Take a couple of breaths here. From here, we're going to bring our knees to the ceiling, feet flat on the floor, and just scoop the tail under and roll the pelvis off the floor in a tucked bridge. Knees nice and bent, extending the fronts of the hips, noticing what that feels like, and then roll the heels, the toes off the floor so you come onto the heels. Pelvis is really scooped. Externally rotate, keeping that tuck, don't lose the tuck, and then come back to parallel. Feet come down. Keeping this tail scoot, press the legs long, and then rest down onto the floor. So taking this, we'll take this a couple more times. So first thing is bending the knees in, scooping the tail under, and extending the hips, sit bones rolling towards the ceiling. Then externally rotating at top of thigh without arching low back. Roll back to parallel. Notice how the right and left leg function with that. Does one want to go faster than the other? Bring the toes back down. Keeping the sit bones curling under in that tuck. Send the legs long and all the way down. Taking that 4 more times. Knees bend, feet come up. Scoop the tail under and roll into your bridge. Roll the weight to the heels of the feet, and then externally rotate from the top of the hip, letting the 2 thighs turn out, keeping that big tuck in your lumbar spine. And then simultaneous action, rolling the thighs back to parallel. My left wants to lag. How about you? And then keeping that scoop, lengthening out into that supine bridge and down. 3 more. Bending the knees, scooping the tail under, rolling the pelvis up, and coming onto your heels. Externally rotate from the top of the hip, keeping the tuck of the tail. Rotate back to parallel, and balls the feet down, and lengthen out supine bridge, still in that big tuck, and down. 2 more. Bending the knees, scooping the tail under, rolling to the heels, turning the thighs out, keeping the sit bones drawing way up towards the ceiling. Simultaneous roll back to parallel without losing that flexion in your lumbar spine, and then pressing out to supine bridge and down. And last one, bending both knees, scooping the tail under, rolling onto the heels, finding that external rotation in the feet, and then back to parallel, both feet down, lengthen all the way down, and rest. Release that effort. It's a lot for the hamstrings, and just take a couple of breaths here. We're gonna come now onto, we're gonna come and just take a little travel actually. So watching once, we're gonna come across the space, just taking an easy externally rotated lunge. So turning out front foot, back foot is slightly turned out as well. Using back foot to try to position pelvis square, and then brushing through first. So coming forward, I'm taking just a deep lunge. The tendency is gonna have to be for back hip to lag. I'm gonna keep them moving in parallel and coming through. So back heels off the floor. So finding your runway path, and we'll take this together. So let's start with our hands actually on our hips so we can just kind of sense ourselves. Right leg is gonna lunge forward. And nice deep lunge, trying to be between my 2 legs and not coming to the front. And then pressing down to scissor through first, and lunge. Pressing down to come through first. When you run out of space, you'll just take this backwards, keeping shoulders tracking right over pelvis. And feeling that sense of drag, of letting the foot really have a little resistance on the floor to help facilitate this action. And taking this again, nice deep movement, starting to open up the muscles around the hip joints. Keeping pelvis upright. And as we go back, trying to send energy through your center rather than back through your shoulders, breaking your spine. Taking this just one more time. Long traveling steps, feeling that external rotation. Good. Pelvis nice and vertical. That's nice, Emily, good. Keep that going.
So in the depth of that lunge, Sarah, try to have the back leg straight. Using this as an opportunity to wake up and develop our range of motion. Good. And come to rest. Okay, great. Any questions, thoughts before we move on? Nope. Great. Okay, we're going to come back down onto the floor. So coming into an X, we're going to roll onto the right side, coming up, and then from here, we're going to circle that leg forward, small tuck back, circle the leg back, and come down. So once more, that's rolling to the right, reaching out through that leg, fingertips reach here. Now here, I'm going to roll to a tuck position on my pelvis, reaching away, and then come back and down. So we'll do this a few times, and then we'll add on a little bit. The addition is going to be a look up and over. Small, but significant, okay? So let's start together. I'll talk us through it, and I'll come and give you guys some feedback. All right, so coming down into that X, and from here, rolling over to right side, lengthening through left toes, and now scoop the tail under, bring the foot forward, coming to your sacrum, the back of your pelvis, and then reverse to come back to the X. Coming to the other side, coming down to the left side, reaching through right toes, and then scooping the tail, coming into this flexion, right foot reaching forward, and then revolving back to your back. One more each side like this. Side bending and drawing towards that foot, scooping the tail under and revolving to your sacrum, maybe not the most comfortable position, and then coming back and back, coming to the left, reaching through that foot and scooping the tail under and coming back onto the shoulder and onto your back. Adding on. Coming to the right, pulling yourself up, coming into that flexion here in this kind of scooped out shape. Lift your chest and your head and take your hands over to the left, just a little bit. And then come back up and over and onto your back. Coming to the left, reaching towards the right leg. Tucking the tail, coming into this little scooped out position. Head and chest come up and arms to the right. And then reverse, coming to your back. Again, coming to the right, reaching towards the left toes, and scooping the tail, coming onto the sacrum. Head and chest come up and to the left, and then back onto your back, to the left, reaching through the right toes, and coming into that scoop. And head and chest come up and to the right, and coming back, continuing, coming over to your right, and taking this 2 more times each side, keeping energy through the gesture, limb, tuck, and then head and chest lift, and coming back into your X to come over to the left, and reach through the right toes, and roll to the sacrum, a little bit lower back if you can, Kate. See if you can be lower to the floor. Yep, exactly. And come back. And one more time each side. Rolling over to reach to left leg. And big tuck. Scoop at the abdomen. Be further back, Akira. Yes, lower down. And then let the sternum rise as you come over. Yes. And back. Coming to the left side. Last one. And scooping the tail under, that's it, Ashley. And then chest, exactly. And come back and rest. Everyone come to rest on your back in an X. Just take a couple of breaths, feel the exertion here. Okay, and take a quick peek at me. So We're going to come into our supine bridge once more, scooping the tail under and rolling the pelvis just off the floor, just a tiny bit, not much. And then from here, you're going to make sure your feet are right together. We're going to take external rotation, shift the weight to the left foot, and then lengthen right toes off the floor, bring it back down, parallel, turn out, shift to right foot, lengthen left toes off the floor without dropping left hip, down, parallel, and rest. So from another angle, just so you can see, these are not large movements, and I'm trying to get a little sense of counter action almost all the time. So feet are in parallel, scooping the tail under, rolling up. I'm taking my external rotation, shifting to my left. I'm reaching, I'm keeping right hip high as I brush out and up, down, parallel, big tuck. External rotation, shifting to right. Left hip stays high as left leg reaches out and up, down, parallel, roll down, rest. Okay? So let's try it together. I think we'll do each side probably 4 times, something like that. So I'll talk us through it. I'll do the first 2 with you. So finding yourself in parallel, feet nice and narrow to begin, rolling all the way down. Scooping tail under and rolling pelvis off the floor, finding that little bridge. From here, hands on hip bones. Take external rotation of the legs, knees are straight. Shift your pelvis over your left foot, keep the tuck, right hip stays level with left, and right foot reaches out and up, comes down, find parallel, big scoop of the tail. Externally rotate, shifting weight over right, left hip stays level, left leg lifts, down, and parallel, roll all the way down. Rest, actually, roll all the way down, lift head and shoulders, look at toes for a little reset. Feeling that work in the front body. And now lower head and shoulders, scoop tail under and come into your supine bridge. Pelvis just lifts lightly off the floor. Externally rotate, shift pelvis over left foot, pelvis level, right leg lifts, down, parallel, turn out, shifting over right foot, left leg lifts, up, down, parallel, scoop of tail, roll down, release. Lift head and shoulders, look at toes, really rolling your thorax forward towards your pelvis. And come back down, rest. Taking the supine bridge once more. Scooping tail under, rolling hips up off the floor, and take your external rotation, turning out. And shift pelvis over left foot. Keep hips level, right leg lifts, just a little bit. And keep the scoop, come back to parallel. Hips stay level, left hip a little higher, I think, Chelsea. And externally rotate. And shifting weight over right foot, lifting left. Very small, don't let that left hip drop, Akira. And then back to parallel. Roll all the way down. Lift head and shoulders, look at toes. Big contraction of the abdominals. And lower down. And last one, scooping tail under, coming into supine bridge. Externally rotate. Keep a bigger tuck of the spine, even than that, Ashley. Low back really round, yeah. Shift weight over left foot. Keep hips level and lift right leg. Just a little bit. Right hip higher, right hip higher, right hip higher, yeah. And back, find parallel. And turning out. So scooping under and turning out, shifting weight over right foot. Keeping left hip level, baby lift of left leg, just a tiny bit. And down, and roll all the way down, and rest, lifting head and shoulders up, looking towards toes, contracting abdominals, and rest, release. Okay, any questions before we go on? Yeah, Akira.
I felt like I was feeling a lot of gripping in the front of my ankles. Where can I transfer that that energy or focus?
Okay, so did other people have that experience, feeling gripping in the front of your ankles? Yeah. So in part, it's just the extremity of that that action through the ankle, the dorsiflexion, to help stabilize you. So one thing to transfer that to might be a little more sense of the sit bone scooping under. So transferring a little bit more of that intensity to the posterior hip. That action in the ankle may be uncomfortable, but isn't going to be injurious, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Did anybody else have a question? I have one note for you, Ashley, which is if you start with your legs a little closer so that in your external rotation, your base is narrower. So come into that bridge, really tuck now. From here, shift over left, just a small shift. Keep the hips level, just a little lift of the right leg. Yeah, there you go. You feel how that's a little bit more direct? Yeah, totally. Great. Okay. All right, so adding on. It's not really adding on. Might be changing course a little bit. So coming into our X one more time. And from here, coming onto the right side and just taking this lengthen up. Think top of head to ceiling, arms are reaching long and low, top of head to ceiling. And then you're gonna let the crown of the head take you slowly back. And actually, let's do one side. So crown of head takes you down, and then you're gonna lengthen up again. So taking this about 4 times per side, and then we'll add on to that a little bit for real adding on. Okay? So I'll do the first side with you. Coming into your X and coming over onto the right, lengthening up. So coming into a big lateral flexion, crown of head drives you up to the ceiling, and then reversing that. Head falls over, almost coming to that right shoulder, and then head lengthens and brings you up. And then head falls over, almost coming to right shoulder. And then head lengthens, brings you up. 2 more like that. Head coming over, almost bringing you onto that shoulder. And head lengthens and up. And 1 more, up and over. And head lengthens and up. And come all the way down. Release. X. Other side. Coming onto your left side, right leg reaches out, and then crown of head drives you up to the ceiling, and then coming back and down. Right leg's off the floor, and crown of head draws you up, and then up and over the top, feeling that lateral articulation of the spine. And 2 more, up and over the top. And revolving, feeling how the ribs can revolve as you come down. And 1 more. And feeling the ribs displace as you come down, coming to your X. From here, right side, coming into that same beginning. Crown of head comes up, and we're going to bring the leg forward. Hip joint flexion here, big twist, and grow tall and right sit bone. Take the leg back into attitude, reach the arms forward, and then come down. Watching this, if you like, once coming onto the left, leg reaches out, and from here, I'm going to take the head up. The leg comes forward, big twist to the right as I drive up through that sit bone, coming back into attitude, reaching my arms forward and down. And let me just check in. Any questions about that action? Nope. Okay, great. So let's take that a few times each side. So in this X, rolling to the right, coming over onto the right, and crown of head lengthens you up. The leg comes across to the front, and I'm driving down into right sit bone to grow tall as I twist, keeping that sense of rotation in my trunk, reaching way forward, bowing over that leg, and coming back. Coming to the left, and crown of head lengthens, leads me up. Leg comes forward as I take big twist, pressing into the left sit bone, and then attitude, reaching my arms forward, bowing over that leg, and then releasing back and coming to the left, reaching towards that foot, and crown of head draws up, and big rotation, driving through that sit bone, and taking the leg back into attitude, long reach, reaching fingers way far away before I come down, and coming to the left. Crown of head draws up, big twist across, and press the floor away. Find that attitude. Reach long, 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 and come back. 2 more each side, coming onto your right. And taking the crown of the head to draw you to the ceiling. Good, lengthening up, and take that twist. And from here, finding the attitude, the leg reaches back, fingers reach way forward, bow over that thigh, nice, Anna. And then soften. Let this soften be a moment of real release. Coming to your back and rolling to the left. The crown of head drives you up. And then the right thigh comes forward and finding that pressure into left sit bone, arabesque, coming back into your attitude. Nice, Sarah. And soften to your back, 1 more each side, coming onto the right. So finding this nice play between effort and release and ease. And really reach through those fingers there, Sarah. Take that twist even further before you come back. Reach long, 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 drive down into right sit bone, get tall on the right, through the spine, yes. Yes, there you go. And back, and coming down and to the left. Reaching long. Energy through your fingertips, Jason. And twist in opposition. Twist the other way with the chest there, Jason. Twist the arms to the right. That's it. That's it. Press down into left sit bone. There you go. And now the right leg is going to come back into attitude. And release forward. And come all the way down. Everyone come to rest on your back. And breathe. Just releasing the effort here for a moment. Good. All right. Questions, comments, observations? Yes. Mr. Parsons.
Hello. There's a couple things. One, with coming up, for some reason I am cheating a lot. I started realizing I was kind of doing this thing with my arm to help facilitate getting up. So if you wanted to maybe advise a proper maneuver for that, just that bad habit. Other thing too, obviously I have a neck injury, so I don't have the most opportunity in my neck to move. What I noticed that was coming up with my trapezius and my shoulders were basically going like this. And I didn't know if that was something I should be allowing to happen or if it was something that was habitual and also causing, so I was playing with both concepts, but that naturally, that especially when we're going to return, I don't have a lot of lateral flexion. So,
Right.
And then the other thing, the hip joint, when you're doing this rotation around, are you here or are you in the socket down?
Okay, great. So, okay, that covers a lot, but does anybody else have something before I jump in? No. Okay, so I would say, first of all, when you're dealing with this, these ranges of motion don't have to be large to be articulate. So you can do, it can be this much, but it can have all the specificity of whatever range of possibility each of those joints has. So allowing yourself to be clear about the sequencing through the joints without being focused on range degree of motion. The other thing is, especially as we're taking this one, that your ribs, you have all of this play. I'm thinking of it as ribs, but it's actually spine. Spine is going to tip. You can drive the whole column, can participate in this. So if there's not much here, let it be about this becoming really expressive. Let this sing a little bit. So coming up, not cheating with the arm. So not cheating with the arm from this X, Coming over, so you're on the shoulder here, and this is flexion. The flexion is gonna help you. If you just try to come up through the side, I can't do it. It's pretty much, I mean, it would be real heave. So let there be forward motion in the spine in this moment. And then from here, so I am forward flexed. You see in this position, I am forward flexed. But then I'm gonna start to lengthen to come up out of that and let the shoulders fall away. So from another angle, that's gonna look like I'm forward flexed as I come off the arm. And then I'm gonna use this pressure down into right support leg to help me open into a neutral, more neutral position here. Then from there, that leg is coming across and I'm pressing into my right sit bone. So I'm actually not worried about dropping that hip down. That sit bone is still off the floor. And I'm really thinking about corkscrewing around my vertical, almost getting my spine up over this support hip. I can't quite get there, I'm a little bit behind it, but I'm pushing down and moving in that direction as I take that big twist. Then the leg comes back into attitude, and now I'm reaching forward, 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 and then it's just gonna be a release to come back. Clarifying? Great. Okay, so let's, from there, our trunk should be pretty warm, I think. So let's come into our diagonal. We're gonna take a traveling lunge. Sorry, not traveling lunge. We're gonna take a crawl into a balance. So stepping forward in external rotation, lifting that leg, right foot on his way back. From here, I'm gonna lengthen through the crown of my head, reach forward, and then down. Stepping into external rotation, squaring the pelvis. Right leg is gonna lift. Spine lengthens, reaching out, opposition. Head is above shoulders, and down. Okay? So let's go together. I'm gonna do this with you, and then we're gonna add on. So folding forward. And let's step right foot forward into external rotation. Transfer weight onto it. Lengthen through spine. Right sit bone driving back. And taking opposition in your arms, let your gaze become enlivened. And then fold forward. And stepping onto left leg, shifting onto it, feeling left sit bone rise behind you. And opposition in the arms. And reaching forward for a crawl. So just a reminder, of course, that when you run out of space, just reverse this action. Energy through distal points of body. Noticing how your weight is distributed over your support leg, your support foot. Seeing if you have a sense of lift in your support sit bone that opposes the direction of the support knee. So creating a long energetic line between support sit bone and support knee. And when you come back to your diagonal starting point, just taking a little roll up, finding your weight balanced over both feet. Pressing down in your vertical. And roll forward, and we're going to take this one more time. Walking out, stepping right foot forward, external rotation, taking that leg through the spine, and then crawling forward. Stepping into left, right leg lifts, pelvis is square, finding opposition in the upper body, and coming down, crawling forward. Taking right sit bone high as you transfer your weight onto it. And lengthen through the crown of the head. Let the arms be a little lower than your skull, Jason. And energy into the fingertips. Pelvis level. So head can come a little higher, Kate. And long stride. Good. And down. And Akira, think about your fingers as you go. Think about your fingers. So right sit bone lifts, weight is in full right foot. There's this back and up energy through the back of right thigh. Good. Ease in the fingers. Energy, but ease. Lightness. One more. Good, and everyone rest. Okay, take a moment. Backs might be feeling a little fatigued from that extension. That's a lot. So we're gonna come now and take just another traveling lunge. And what I'd like for us to think about today, we're gonna take this in parallel, and hands can be on your hips or they can be in opposition. So it's a parallel lunge. I'm keeping my hips square, and I'm going to drag the back foot and tuck it behind the front foot. Then from here, I'm gonna shift, I'll show this from another angle, to get my weight onto the front foot, roll the foot under, and then lunge again. So you can see what the footwork is, because it's about the footwork. Taking a deep parallel lunge. Now from here, I'm going to tuck under, my right heel comes up. Now I'm shifting back, hip joint flexion, until right foot comes on the floor. Loading right foot. And then that allows me to unspiral my pelvis, slide that foot through, and lunge. So there's a rotation that's happening in the pelvis. From the moment I cut under, let's do this opposition in the arms actually, it'll be helpful. I'm tucking under, I'm shifting back into that hip, and now watching my pelvis. My hands are going to help show what the pelvis is doing. It's circling back and vertical to come through in a relative way. Okay? Questions?
I think just the pelvis one more time. That what you just did.
Let me show it here because this might help you see. So bottom of the lunge. Bottom of the lunge here, and then I'm cutting under, opposition. From here, I'm tipping back, I'm getting into that hip, and then I'm pressing into right foot to find extension on right leg. Pelvis rotates to parallel as left foot comes through. Okay? Let's try it. We'll come back to this kind of technical activity. So let's just give it a go. Finding wherever, we're only going to do it forward, so when you run out of space, just turn around. So keeping it in parallel, taking a big lunge with the right. Let the arms come to the left as we shift into left foot. Hips back, press down to right, and unspiral to take your lunge to the left. Cutting right foot under, articulating left foot, and then shifting into left foot, hips go back, press down, left foot comes to extension up, scissor the leg and through, and cutting under, and letting the pelvis move back, and pressing into right leg, and lunge, any direction at all, cutting under, and shifting into left foot, pressing into left foot, spiraling, taking that lunge, cutting under, hips shift back, head and hips are moving in opposition until they square off, and lunge, cutting under, hips shift back, head and hips are moving opposition until you square off. Keep going. Take a few more. Articulating the feet and finding that ease, this counter rotation of pelvis and shoulders, working together to move away from center in order to come back to a shared center. Articulating the feet slowly. Good. And Chelsea, pour the weight into the right foot. Yes. And now, so the right knee is not straight yet. And the left foot is still behind it. And see if you can have those feet really come into close contact, Sarah. And shifting back into that left, right, yep. And if you can, let that foot just slip right underneath the other foot. So that moment of articulation becomes about the foot. Yes, Emily, passing right beneath the standing leg. Try one more. Each side, guys. And let's rest. So we're not going to do this again right this moment, but I'm just going to give you guys a little detail for when it comes back in another version. So let's see, I think you can see this. So when I take the, when I'm taking the lunge, so from here, I'm cutting behind. The feet are actually coming really, really close to each other. They're actually in contact. Now, as I shift onto that right foot, they're still in contact. I'm going to press down. So this is where I was talking to you, Chelsea. I'm going to press into my right foot to extend, and that forces the left to move. That pushes the left out of place. Now, for it to go any further, I have to push into the right ball of the foot and just slip that through. So again, on the other side, this I'm cutting under. The feet are right next to each other, pour into the left. Now I'm going to push into the left foot, which is going to straighten the knee and force the right foot to start to move. Then to come to square, I have to bring my weight onto the ball of the left foot and bring my right hip forward, which is going to allow me to take that little articulation. So this is major, major, major footwork. Yeah? Actually, let's all try that for 1 second. Just, I'm going to keep the focus down on my feet for a minute. And so let's just take the right foot forward, small setup for a lunge. You don't have to do the big scissor. And now cut the left foot behind the right. Bring the left foot all the way down. Bring the right foot down, let your pelvis displace back. Now your weight's on the right, press into the right and begin to extend right knee until right heel comes up, pelvis squares. And then you lunge, taking your weight onto the left foot, scissor the right foot behind, and then transfer into left heel. Pelvis shifts back. Push down into left foot and thread right foot underneath. And it lunges really smooth. And take it once more each side. So slowing down the action as much as you can. And noticing how that begins to give you a sense of how your pelvis and trunk move over that small base of support. Good. Tucking under, that's it. Nice, Chelsea. And then shifting, pouring the weight to the left heel that you're in plie, yes. Now press into the left and begin to extend your hips and your knee. Exactly what threads. And you could even thread it right underneath the sole of the right by going into releve. Press, yeah. Great. Okay. And everyone rest. Okay. Questions? Comments? That looked much clearer, much clearer.
It's really hard. It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's also because my pattern is sitting into my heels, and so not that that's what that is, but that was what I was doing in the beginning. So to alleviate the, Charlie snappy knees that I have, that was really like that task of trying to eliminate, really understand where the weight can be distributed over the forward of the foot.
Yep.
Also too, what was so interesting was how you were having like these small rotations that were happening, like they were happening on their own almost. You were telling us they were there, but it was interesting seeing how they were just kind of coming out anyway. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah, this is a nice one for getting deeper into your understanding of how the oppositions in the body actually work, the counterbalances. And so there's a lot of difficult work in the foot happening here, but if you let it slow down and be soft and gentle, it's actually it's a moment where the strategy is maybe a lightness of approach. Emily, can I put you on the spot? Would you do one each side?
Okay. Okay, so I just want everybody to watch this because Emily was really getting something very nice and clear about these weight shifts and these spirals. So that cut under, and see how she's letting the arms of the head have this oppositional relationship to the pelvis. And cutting under. And you can take a little more time with the feet. Yeah, slowing it down. Yeah. And then the transfer into the right, letting the heel come down to help press you so you get this. Yes. Yeah. So can you guys see that? It's really clear how she's sending a little extra energy through her fingertips so you can really see how the upper body, the arms, and the head are relating to the lower body and the hips. So we'll come to a version of this shortly, but that's, yeah, I think it's also very clear the amount of effort she's using. Yeah, exactly. There's a lightness to that. Beautiful. I don't know if you can see everybody, Emily, but you're getting a lot of snaps. Yeah. All right. So let us come to travel a little bit more. So taking the long way, we're going to take this deep lunge, not coming into our extension now, but coming to this place that we were earlier, letting the pelvis be upright from here. Press off the back foot, lengthen. Take your spinal flexion as you bring the leg down and out to side, low gesture. Then rond de jambe back to press through lunge, pushing off the back toes and then folding in. So again, that support sit bone is driving up. I'm going to press down to unfurl my spine to the side and taking the leg back to come through. Okay? I'll do the first step with you. So starting in your first position, a nice deep lunge out. From here, I'm going to press off the toes, lifting the left leg, fold forward, and then press down to let that just unravel from center. Then support leg extends, little rond de jambe through your arabesque. Up and lunge, pressing off the toes and taking your flexion. Push down to radiate energy out from center. Little rond de jambe to arabesque and pressing to lunge through, pushing off the toes. And flexing the spine, letting the head hang. Press down to take that tendu to second. Small rond de jambe and arabesque. And then you'll lunge, coming onto that foot and flexing spine. Press down tendu second and up to come over. And when you run out of space, you're welcome to take that backward and flex and press to radiate energy out wide and small rond de jambe. And then you'll just come to the bottom of the lunge if you're going back and brush through and flex, press to radiate to second and rond de jambe and deep lunge, pressing through and flex and radiate to second and rond de jambe and through. Keep going, forward or back, taking that lunge and finding that moment where from your flexion, you're really just pushing down and that inflates your limbs so they unravel into your second. And good. Letting that sit bone rise behind you when you're in the single leg flexion. And a little more downward energy with those arms, Chelsea. Nice. Taking that flexion. And just pushing to radiate, unfurling, beautiful. And big lunge. Good, we're letting the sit bone support you with its oppositional reach. Good. Deep fold, right sit bone up a little bit more, Akira. Yep. And long fold. So keep the shoulders soft. So take that again, Akira, for me. Plie, fold forward. Now from here, the shoulders aren't going to elevate. Just push down and let it, yep. so up and forward, not up and back. Up. There you go. That's it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, everyone finish out on the side that you didn't start on. So I think that's probably left. Good. So letting the head have weight here, Anna, and then pressing. A little more upward lift in front of left hip. Plie, deep fold. Yeah. And down. Okay, and everyone rest. All right. So let's come to take okay, just trying to remember what I was going to have to do. So we're going to take a lunge forward on the right that's going to become a turn. So it's external rotation and I'm letting the body go with it, but it's building on this foot action that we did earlier. So I'm lunging and I'm cutting under to turn out and fold forward. From here, we're going to take a little rotation open with the pelvis, and then we're going to square the hips, come onto a straight leg, and I'm folding over that. So support leg is straight, try and have my pelvis up and over it, and it's a whole spinal flexion. Then I'm going to lengthen, leg comes low, and it's the other side. Cutting under, the leg rondejons around, and I drape forward. There's no front. I drape down, and I'm opening to then square off, and I'm coming up and over on that foot, deep fold, lengthen, and turn. Cut under, and out. From here, open pelvis and chest, external rotation on standing leg, square off, and fold. Up. Inclining into it, slow cut under, then you spin the leg out, find that deep flexion arabesque, and turn out, and whoa, center yourself, press, and from this moment, push into the floor to let the energy come up through the head. Okay, clear? Great, let's go for it. I'm gonna do the first two with you, and then I'm gonna come and watch and give feedback. So let's start with the right leg, and again, there is no front. So let that be part of what the play is here. Right leg lunges, and I'm cutting under. Rondejam on there, and fold arabesque. Dropping the arms, externally rotate. Square the hips off so that you can launch to your back foot, and then press down, lengthen, and turning left, cutting under, slowing down time as the leg comes around. Finding that arabesque, arms drop, externally rotate on right hip, square it off, and flex, tall on that leg, and lengthen, press, turning right, cutting under, slowing down time, be the boss of time here, long flexion. Turning out, and coming forward, and flex, lengthen, feel how that press of the foot gets you energy through your core, keep going. So these spirals we played with earlier exist in this activity as well. Yeah, nice, Emily, look at that stability in that hip, and square. Now don't lose the arms. Press down,
And keep going. So as you go, begin to think about this in terms of the spirals you're playing with, but also the sort of fold and unfold. So emphasize both the spiraling and the folding and unfolding, looking for a sense of float, of musicality. Sarah, get that sit bone driving back as your support strategy. Straight standing leg, pelvis square over it, Jason. Yeah, that's better. So that's a little more forward. If you wish to begin to play with a higher développé, feel free. And letting that leg turn out. And rest, everyone. Let's add on a little bit. Keep the plie, Ashley, as a stabilizing strategy. Hang on, can you do that one more time for me? So plie, 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 get that deep flexion, sit bone back and up. Yeah. And don't lose that here. Well, yeah, there you go. Feel how different that is? Yeah, that's really clear. Okay. So let us add on just a tiny bit, just for fun. So same basic bones. We've got this external rotation. I'm spiraling, gathering up, taking that rond de jambe, and I'm down. Here's that nice fold. Taking my external rotation here, and then let's take that into attitude and reach, so it gets a little bit more challenging. Then from that attitude and extension, over the top to take that return to the flexion, then loading that leg, pressing back. This is the same still, but then come up and développé. So spiraling up to extend. So one more time. Here, turning and float. Turning out and extend. Come up and over the top to come down. Pressing back high on that leg. And then développé as you spiral. So it goes right into the next side. Okay? All right, let us try. I'm going to do 2 with you and then come and give feedback. Okay, so big lunge on the right and curling towards that leg and float the other around. Find the hips. Turn out and then attitude, reaching foot and hands towards each other. Up and over the top like a big bird. Settling and come onto the leg. Spiral arms left as you développé up and around to lunge left. Cutting under. Taking the leg around and fold the hips, sit bone way back up. And here, take that rotation and attitude up and over the top like a hawk. And press back. Take that développé as the arm spiral overhead to the right to come onto the right leg. And again, one more time each side. Big rotation. And folding over your standing hip. And taking that external rotation, attitude. And then up and over the top. Feel that lift over your standing leg. Yes, that's nice, Chelsea. And then pressing off, launching. Now fingers and toes move away from each other. Spiral the opposite direction, Chelsea. No, I'm lying. You're right. You're right. Good, keep going. And taking, yes, Akira. Feeling the whole sole of that foot. Diving forward, left leg straight, and then spiraling, melting into it. Good. Turning out both hips, Emily. So right hip can turn out here too. And now bring yourself, now bring yourself up and over the top.
and pressing right leg straight as you développé. And last one, everyone. Last one. Finding that sense of ease and float. Turning out, yes, here. Keep the energy out through crown of head, fingers lightly, Jason. And then up and over the top, up and over the top. Left hip bone continues to reach back and up. Launch off left leg onto right. Yes, beautiful. Ease in those shoulders, more around than over. And then straightening, spiraling upper body. And rest. Okay, I am going to just thank everyone for being here and turn off the recording. So I really appreciate everyone who's tuning in this way, and I hope to see you again soon.